You have organic matter, inorganic molecules, right? Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, and so on. How did this come together to form life?
God can do my everything.
We still don't know that.
Okay,
Scientists are still researching that.
So, is it possible that nature, which has no consciousness, awareness, brain, could have done that? Which is non-existent. Nature by itself.
We don't know how. It is possible.
No,
we don't know how.
Let's get rid of things that we could eliminate. Nature doesn't exist. It doesn't have a brain. It doesn't have synapses. It doesn't have neurons. It doesn't have self-awareness. It doesn't have consciousness. Right? This nature could not have said, this. It couldn't have done that.
Not consciously, it could have just happened, though.
No. Just happen is not science. It's a belief.
We don't know how it happened.
Wait, please. When you say it just happened, I could say, God just did it.
No, but we don't know. I'm saying we don't. Scientists are still researching what caused biogenesis.
But
like,
let's
it's an unknown thing.
Let's understand why science is unable to. So you have no designer, and yet things come together, and then they started forming a very organized system. So again, from random matter, randomness, we get order, precision. We're talking about precise engineering again. Precision engineering came
Well, it's
from
not
what?
engineering, it's just how evolution happens.
I'm not
You're
talking
trying to
about
say there's an order. No,
see what
you're saying the whole system coming from the biogenesis is an unanswered question. It's
Why
different than saying
are
the
you
whole system is ordered.
uncomfortable to talk about biogenesis? You know why?
No, but you're taking that and extending it
I'm not
all the
extending
way
anywhere.
to say that it creates such an orderly.
I'm not saying it anywhere.
Yeah,
I'm
yes,
saying
you are. You're saying it's just having and creating, and then we have a whole orderly system.
No.
Just it creating anything doesn't lead
Absolutely
to the
not.
orderly system.
Let me-
Evolution led to
Let
this
me tell
whole
you first.
system we have.
Evolution doesn't have a brain, or self-direction, or somewhere it's leading
Yeah.
to. Right. So it's a thing that doesn't exist. So let's not talk
Well,
about things.
I mean, it's not a physical thing. It's a like natural thing that goes on.
What is it?
Like natural mechanism.
No, a mechanism by itself doesn't exist. It doesn't have any consciousness of self-awareness. So what is this thing? Thing. It's not a thing, is it?
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Well, yeah, it's not a
When you
physical
got a
thing.
watch and you got a clock, my watch is working, yeah? I can tell the time, and all of a sudden it goes wrong and stop working. Where does the working go?
Where does what go?
The working of my watch.
Working.
Yeah.
Explain what you mean by working.
My watch is working now. You don't know what that means?
Now I want you to explain
No,
it.
no. Do you know what that means when I say
I want you to explain it.
No, you tell me if you don't understand what that means.
I'll tell you what.
Yes.
So your watch,
It's working.
has I'll tell you what I understand.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good. So is it all these clocks there, and by motion the clocks turn one of the other and the other, and eventually on the dial itself you have a hand and a minute hand, second hand, minute hand, and so on, and they move because of the clocks moving.
So it's working.
No, because that movement
So
comes
it's
from.
working.
Allow me to explain. This movement comes from where?
It's because there is energy in it, and my clock is working. Do you agree my clock is working?
This movement comes from energy, and that energy came from where?
Where does energy come from?
The energy in your watch.
There's energy
In your watch.
of course, it's following natural laws.
No. Where
I don't
did
know
the
what is
energy in your watch come from?
What is unnatural about energy?
Excuse
Do you
me?
know what tell me something that is
Before
unnatural.
you go into something else, let's
Tell
talk about
me
your watch.
something that is unnatural. You don't want to answer my question about
No,
working.
listen.
Now you tell me something that is unnatural.
Listen,
Huh?
where did the
Tell
energy
me.
in your watch come from?
Energy exists.
Let's answer the question.
Comes from
Okay, let's come back to
movement.
you.
Comes from movement.
Right. So, let's answer this. So when we talk about biogenesis or abiogenesis, you have organic or inorganic matter. They form together a system which then replicates
which then evolves through evolution.
Right. Because it replicates, so it's a system. It's an engineered system. It's a precise system. Because
You say engineered. Engineered implies that it has an engineer, like a designer. You're already implying that. It just is a resulting system.
But there's precision in there.
It's the result. I wouldn't say what precision.
Really not?
What's precise?
First cell.
Tell me what is precise.
Okay, let me tell you what precise is. The first cell. What are the characteristics of the first cell that became alive? It needed to be alive, right? It needed to sustain its life. Yeah? How does it do that? How does it sustain its life? It needs energy external to itself because it is not self-contained energy-wise to perpetually continue its life. So it needs to take in food. How does it do that? It needs to take in food within itself. Once it does that by whatever mechanism, it needs to process this energy into usable form because it may have engulfed something. Then it needs to break it down to break it into ATP, the units of energy. Right. Then it needs to get rid of the waste products. How does it do that? It needs to have the machinery.
Mitochondria is the powerhouse.
It needs to have machineries which will do all of that. Where does the machinery come from?
Cell walls.
Now, where does the machinery come from? It comes from what?
Cell walls.
It needs ribosomes, lysosomes, Golgi bodies, mitochondria.
The Golgi mechanism.
Each one of them, you need a DNA program.
Vacuoles too.
You need the DNA, RNA, tRNA. You need this to make proteins. You need proteins to make DNA.
Telomerase as well.
To make these proteins, you need the DNA. To make DNA, you need proteins. So now tell me, from inorganic matter, how did this assemble?
Well, the original cell was not that complex.
The cell that became alive.
The original cell didn't have like a mitochondria.
What did it have?
And also,
what did it have?
We also have not discovered that. Science still hasn't discovered that.
Right. So what do we know the original cell may have?
We don't know what it may have.
So now tell me then, if it didn't have any of those things, then it resulted in those precision systems, mitochondria, the powerhouse, Golgi bodies, right, and so on. How did they come from where? They come from the space from nowhere?
From evolution.
What is evolution, my friend?
There's that difference in natural selection. One cell had it and then evolved, and then the next cell replicated.
That cell doesn't have anything. It was just amino acids that became what? Peptides, became polypeptides, then became proteins.
Unknown. That's all still unknown. Like scientific research doesn't know that stuff.
And yet we say the system now at present, it just came by itself. By evolution. When evolution is something that doesn't make any sense about what it is.
It's the same thing like the Big Bang. We know what happened, from most of the way until now, but the first 300,000 years are still unknown.
But do you see how much of faith now is built in? The organic life, like a human being, which shows so much precision engineering. Do you agree or disagree?
Saying precision engineering implies that it was specifically designed rather than just the result of
are
evolution.
there precision engineering within the human being?
No.
Right.
It's when you have engineering, it's the result of evolution.
When you have a cut and you bleed, what happens? There's a clot that forms.
Because evolution has designed your body to clot your blood.
Is there precision engineering within the system?
Well, the term precision engineering implies design and a creator, which is not accurate.
Are you saying precision engineering means the creator? So when we make robots...
Would you say the tree is precision engineering?
Okay, let me give you an example. When we make robots to make other robots...
Something that has precision engineering is like a car that is has a creator.
Let me give you an example. When we make robots to make cars, the cars which was made by robots, can I say the car has precision engineering? Are you going to say no? It implies some kind of creator. But it's a robot that made it.
A car has a creator. Someone designed it. Like a car has a creator.
Like a robot?
Yes.
Right.
So robot can create a car.
So you don't have a problem with that?
No.
Good. So do you have precision engineering in your system?
I wouldn't describe it like that.
Why not?
No. Because it's not precision engineering. It wasn't designed by someone.
So even though it smells like design, tastes like design, I can see it like design, it barks like design.
It wasn't designed. You can trace back the human evolution from...
You just said you can't.
Not
Because we
to
don't
the
know.
original cell, but you can trace it back to like our early ancestors, like
Really?
Australopithecus and Neanderthals
Really?
and those other.
Really?
Yes,
How can we trace it back? Can you observe it?
in the fossil record.
Can you
Yes,
observe
I've been
it?
to museums and I've seen it. Yes.
Okay.
You can
So-
go. I'm sure they have a museum
Okay,
somewhere in
let's understand
London
that.
where they have the first they're monkeys on their feet and then they start walking taller eventually.
So when in the fossil records,
Like-
you see different species in different strata.
yeah.
The top species, was it caused by the bottom species?
Yes.
How did you make that inference?
What do you mean?
You just made
What do you mean the top?
jump
like,
of leap
like
of faith.
The original
No, no,
species
look,
at the top
let's-
leads to all the other ones.
Let's understand something.
Like all humans
We
and all
observe-
monkeys have a common ancestor at some point.
You're missing my point. When we see a fossil record, let's say this is a record, right? 4 different stratas here. Complex, less complex, less complex, less complex.
Yeah.
The more complex thing, was this the result of this one at the bottom?
Well, they would all have been traced back though
No.
to one. It's not
We
necessarily
observe-
it's not a result of the one below it because it's a different creature. We're not a result of
So
chimpanzees,
my
but we have a
question to
common
you-
ancestor with them.
My question is simple. The species or the fossils that we see, which are more complex than the one below it, was it because the ones below caused the species at the top? Is there any link? That's my question.
Okay, well,
Is there any link?
I think you're really diluting how the fossil record works because yes, like the original, we all have a common ancestor with like even cats.
Excuse me.
You can find a common ancestor that humans
you're-
and cats both go
You're
back
now
to.
jumping again on faith. I'm simply asking.
That's not faith.
Let me demonstrate to you.
We have a common ancestor.
No, let me
like all
demonstrate to you.
creatures,
No,
that's how it works.
That's faith.
That's not faith.
Let me demonstrate that to you
how
then.
evolution
Okay.
works.
So when I observe the data in the fossil record, what gives me the link that the top layer species came from the bottom layer? What's the evidence for it?
Because there's a clear progression.
No. Clear progression doesn't mean one caused the other, right? What is
Yes,
the link?
yes, it does.
Excuse me?
Like you can take the human like from Australopithecus and then to Homo erectus and Homo whatever and Homo sapien, and there's a progression. And Australopithecus caused humans.
That's really
They
shows.
led to that.
That really shows the inferences that you're
It's
making.
not an inference. They have a right. It's like
Allow me to
evolution.
explain the data. So when I see something, if I see now, let's say,
You can say Australopithecus if that's how you're laying it out did lead to humans. Yes, that
if
is.
I observe 4 different layers and 4 different species, one above the other.
What kind of species? Like cats and dogs are different species.
Anything.
No,
Right.
no. You
What
have to go.
makes
It has to be in the progression. Evolution goes in order. So if you just compare
Evolution
random
goes in
species,
order?
Yes,
Why?
because it goes forward, it
Wait, wait.
evolves.
Evolution goes forward. Why?
'Cause
Does it have
there's
direction?
natural variations
No, no,
in
let's-
animals, and
let's-
those
let's-
characteristics are passed on.
Let's explain that a little bit more. Evolution doesn't have a brain to think forward, right? It doesn't say, I'm going to make more.
No, sometimes it does the wrong thing.
Let's understand your principle. So when you have complexities going to more complexities, what caused these more complexities? You said evolution has an order.
It's not an order. There's no order to it. It's
Oh, no,
natural
so, okay,
selection.
fine. So you retract that, no problem. So there is no order. It just happened. So when I see different species one above the other, why do I make this inference that the top layer
Well,
species?
it depends on what species you're talking about and how it's laid out. If you're looking at the human Homo sapien, Homo erectus, Australopithecus, those did happen in order. That's,
Really?
Yes.
So we haven't found any human species which coexisted with so-called ancestors.
What? Well, I mean, humans and Neanderthals existed at the same
Do we not
time.
have any Homo sapiens, like their footprints or
Not-
their bones? or
Not
fossil
during the
records?
same period as Australopithecus.
Do
They're
we
different
not-
time periods, and we know they're millions of years older.
So all these species that we're talking about, human or humanoids, from what do we infer? Do we have a full skeleton?
Yes,
All of them, right?
most of them, I'm pretty sure.
Are
Yeah.
you sure about that?
Yeah.
Yeah? And not just a small tooth?
No, Australopithecus,
Okay.
Lucy, they have the
So
oldest
now,
human ever.
so I would
They have
like
the
you to
full-
go.
they
I
have
would
the
like you
full
to go and
skeleton.
research and say every single humanoids or whatever the ancestors that are claiming to, or the common ancestors that we have found, and we've made them to be this intermediate species of apes or humans from the common ancestors, and tell me that you have actually, next time we meet, God willing, that yes, full human skeleton. Because I know some of them just from one tooth, just from one bone, and you make the whole, you even give a skin color. This is faith.
It's not faith, no. I've
Yes,
seen
it
it
is.
in museums. You can go into the museum in London and go see
The
it.
museum once showed the evolution of the horses. Horses, smaller, became bigger, and their hoofs. But this is just a forgery from 18th and 19th centuries. We used to study this in our even textbooks in biology. But it's just a forgery. They didn't let you know until people came to say, okay, you can't have that anymore now, you can't have it. Because why? These horses didn't exist in the fossil strata like this order. It was a scientific forgery done by the scientists to make people believe that's how evolution is.
Okay, so if that happened one time, so that
Not
doesn't...
about one time, you talk about human evolution. This evolution about human species and so on is another concocted picture. It's a concocted...
not.
Of course it is.
No, it's not. Wait, you're saying the theory of evolution is made up?
So let's go back to again, very beginning. So you disagree to say precision engineering. So when we have a system where blood clot forms with fibrin and fibrinogen, a mesh of clot forms to stop the blood from forming, I see myself very clearly, there is engineering precision. You don't say that because you know the implication for it.
I don't say it because I know it's a result of evolution.
No, it's not the
that if
result
I
of
cut
evolution.
myself, my blood knows to clot as a result of evolution. Because in the past, animals that didn't do that would die, and so that trait carried on. That's how it works. It's not engineered. Like, that's just how it works.
Yeah, so that's like the biogenesis, the very primer of your evolution when it started. So you have just matter became alive, live and kicking, and guess what it does? It has all these mechanisms to utilize food, break it down, get rid of the waste product, and replicate. Does it even know what it's eating or engulfing or taking in? It doesn't know what's food and what's poison. How does it then form these machineries? You say, oh, science doesn't know. But what we do know is this: it cannot be just.
Yeah.
Is it? It is. It's it. It is like
can.
that. No, it can't.
Yeah, it can.
You see, the leap,
Yeah, it can.
the leap of faith that you are taking on science is, what am I going to say? This is like, infinitesimal. You are making a leap of faith by looking at the data and you're saying, you know what? I have all of these molecules, yeah? So if I have carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and so on, I mix them together in my lab in different proportions. And guess what? I'm going to have a living system.
At some point, they will discover that, I imagine. Yes.
They tried and it didn't work. Do you know why it didn't work?
Well, they have tried it
Because
thousands and
amino
millions of
acids
times.
are so unstable.
They have tried it at millions of times, and they're going to keep trying
Right.
it,
And
they're going to
evolution,
find it. They're going to find it at some
or
point.
nature, which doesn't have a brain, it just did it.
Yeah.
We, with all our
On an
cumulative
infinite
brains,
scale, yes. On an infinite scale, on trillions of planets and
there are no
billions of
infinite
universe.
scales. There are no infinite scales.
Nearly
Universe-
infinite
no,
scale.
there's no such thing as an infinite
Nearly
universe.
infinite.
Is this universe infinite?
Nearly. For our
Okay.
for
What
our
does it-
scale, comparatively, yes.
Okay, what
for
do
our
the
human
scientists
scale,
say about
yes.
this universe? Is it infinite?
I'm saying nearly infinite for human
What do you
scale.
mean by nearly infinite?
That on a human scale, for our purposes, it might as well be.
14 billion years is not infinite. 14 billion years is nothing. If you want to
For
get
human purposes, yes,
no,
it
you're,
is.
you're making a logical fallacy there. To
saying for human
make this universe,
I didn't
and
mean
the
in time
contents-
either. I mean in size.
To make one protein, even if you get zillions and all this Googleplex numbers to make, you can't make a protein.
I
15
think
billion
eventually
years is
they
nothing.
will. Scientists will eventually be able to
So
do
now
that.
you
yes.
have a blind faith in
I don't have a blind
science.
faith, but it's something they're researching.
No, that's
and
blind faith.
I didn't say I'm 100% positive this will happen. I said I think in the future it's something they might
So
discover.
as we understand now, okay, fine. Even though you observe the data to show design, you would not call it design
it doesn't
because
show
of
design. It doesn't. Like
doesn't show design.
where you make that leap is
Okay.
no, it doesn't.
Is the camera better than your eyes?
In some ways, probably, yeah. Not in all ways.
We are constantly modifying the camera to mimic the workings of the eye. Our eyes are better than the camera.
Not in every way. No, the camera can see farther and it has higher resolution.
But still, the way it does, brilliant. And yet, in all probability and with all certainty, you will say this is design. But the eye, no design in it.
It's a result of evolution, yeah.
Yeah. So a design result of evolution.
Yes, because
so there is
birds
design.
have better eyes.
Good. So there is design.
Well, it's not a design. It's a design implies that it was intentional.
You have to accept there is design as a result of something.
Design implies intention, though. It's just a result.
So
it's not a design. It's a result.
When something is designed, and the implication is
a camera is designed. The bird of an eye is not designed. It's just the result.
So it is designed. I want to get this point first. Is it designed?
A bird's eye is not designed.
So there's no design in it.
There's not. It's not. Well, because the design. Design implies intention.
Okay.
There's no intent. No one intentionally designed a bird's eye.
So it's designed, but without any conscious designer.
I wouldn't say it's a design though. Then
you have to be, you have to make sense. You say design implies
intention,
a conscious intention.
Yeah.
So it's not design. So what is it then? What can you call it?
Results.
No. It's a result of something. But this something, does it show the hallmarks of design?
Sorry.
Okay. What is a design? If we observe anything.
I know this stupid argument of it's complex, so it's been designed. Yeah,
I would like you to tell me.
Stopwatch argument.
No. I would like you to tell me if we see any system, whether it's an eye or this tree or the leaf or anything that you see in this cosmos, what would be the hallmarks of design? Essential characteristics of design, of anything. There has to be unique qualities.
What are they? Tell me.
I want you to tell me.
I don't know them.
Anything to say.
I don't know them.
Okay. This
what
camera.
Are they?
This camera. To call this camera to have any design, it has to meet certain essential characteristics.
What are the characteristics?
And I want you to tell me.
I don't know them. I didn't say that.
No. I want you to now come with your own unique understanding of the characteristics, and then you will say, can we now make this a general understanding of what makes design, what is design? So, what are the essential characteristics of things or systems which exhibit design?
They have purpose.
Yeah, intent is the only
Intent.
Okay, that's one thing, right?
Intent is the main thing. Intent is the main thing.
And
the
what
camera
else?
is designed because someone intends to capture a
What
photo.
What else?
that generally defines the term design.
I think that's the main
really
thing,
it.
yeah.
Like a plan. Intent.
So not the complexity, just the intent.
The intent is all that makes it a design.
Is not inherent.
You know what?
You can design a hammer.
You know what? I find it
that's
very
one thing.
interesting. I mean,
You
I'm learning
design a
something
hammer
new
is
today.
very simple.
You know what I'm learning today? Something? I really see the barrier that is now you're trying to overcome and say, you know what? The difficulty of accepting design. You're saying the only thing that I can now make what is a design has to be the intent, the designer. Because even though I can see clearly any system without knowing the intent. For example, if I gave you a system, a machine, not knowing what's it for, would you still say it's design? Because I can make things, for example, personally, I can make a machine.
Because it has intent.
Can I make a machine?
It was
Can I make a
designed with
machine
intent.
without any intention of what I'm making, but I just make it?
No. Yeah. But does it make sense? If you make it, you have the intention of making it.
But for
Yes.
what purpose? I don't.
You could make a machine.
Yes.
Good.
Yeah, people do
Good.
that all the
So if
time.
I make a machine without any intention of what it's going to do, and then you observe this machine, and you ask me, I say, no, I didn't intend it to do whatever it's doing. And then you see, actually, this machine can do X, Y, Z, and all of these things. Would you call it design?
Yes. Well, if you
But then
design the
purpose
machine.
is not attached to design, right? Because he said it doesn't.
No, I wouldn't call it design.
You can call it design. Even
Design a machine.
though it can, for example,
So wait, if you're saying if you design a
Well, I
machine,
just attach two things together with no intention of what it will do, and then magically it has all these different
Not
capabilities.
magically.
Oh,
I
wait.
program something, right? Without having intention what it's going to do. And then I make
Well,
it. Let me give you an
I don't
example.
think that makes sense. How do you
Give you an
program
example.
something without
Look,
any
look,
intention of what
I
it's going to
programmed
do?
it.
That's like saying I write a book, but I have no idea what it's about.
Let me explain.
Like,
Let me explain.
as you do it, you know what
I'm
it
making a
is.
device without a intention of what it's going to do. So I don't know the function of it. The
What does
purpose
that?
of it.
How? That doesn't make
And I did
sense.
it. I just
Accident,
no. I did it. I put in a lot of things, a lot of rules on it. Okay, fine. You know what? It should somehow, do all of these things because of these rules. And then it started capturing voice, pictures.
It doesn't make
and
sense.
Why not? So it became a system. I can't even call it a camera,
do you mean? Like,
or a
that's
car,
like
or a robot, or a phone. Right? I can't call any of that because it doesn't.
nonsense.
It doesn't do any of that. Okay? It's not a car. It's not a tape recorder or a phone, but it does few things. Interestingly, it can take pictures based on a phone.
You can take pictures.
What?
Yeah, it's on a
What
phone.
are you talking about?
It's not a camera, but it can take pictures.
This is nonsense. Come on, man.
Why is
What are
it
you
nonsense?
talking about?
Because you're saying you created some machine with no intention, and then suddenly it was able
No,
to take pictures.
because you're saying anything that is
what he
designed.
said, yeah.
Listen. You're saying anything that is a exhibit designs is when we know the function of this thing. Did evolution know the function of your heart, your liver,
No,
your
so it didn't
appendix?
have the,
intent.
yeah, it's not a
Intent,
design.
the intent is the hallmark
That's
of
why I
design.
would say it's not a design.
Okay, so they
So
just
I have no intent in my machine.
That's why I would say my heart isn't
I don't think that's
designed.
possible to make a machine. I mean, you attach
What
two
is
things together.
nonsense?
If you
Yeah,
make a
like,
machine with no intent,
that
then
would
it
be
will
like
do
saying
nothing.
if I
It's
just
not
started
possible to
writing a
make
book with
machine
no intent,
and have
like,
it do all these other
Intention is a
functions.
specific intention that it should be like a car and transport people. But I didn't put that intention there.
When
And
you
then-
made it, we
and
made
then-
it through
And then when I
that's the
made
intention.
it,
Making
started
it is
flying
an
like
intention.
like an aeroplane.
Even though you intended it to drive like a car.
Doesn't even make sense.
No, I didn't even intend it to drive like a car or fly like an aeroplane.
So what? Like you just sit around and hammer it,
Are you
put a
saying
bunch
I
of
can't do
things,
that?
and it makes
Are
magic.
you saying
You're
every
describing
single-
magic right now?
No, hang on,
like
hang
this
on.
is
Are
magic.
you suggesting every single thing that we do in all the processes, we do exactly as it's designed, and we don't see something that does that?
What? I don't understand the question.
In machineries, right? When you make machineries, it does exactly as it doesn't. It doesn't do anything else.
I don't know that I can say that without.
anomalies.
That's like an indisputable
anomalies.
fact.
I think he's referring to anomalies.
There are no anomalies.
No, what is? It can do other functions because of the program. In fact, the program itself that look, I make a robot that the robot should do something, and then it start assembling cars.
Do you have an example of that? Like
Just
a
give an example.
I don't wait. So
real
you made
life
a
example where
design
somebody made something and then it.
You see, I find it very interesting that the only definition, workable definition that you two friends have come up with, my friends, not your friends, that the design system is only can be called design if it has an intention. I can clearly see the defeat in the line of your logic is the reason you're saying this is because it automatically implies the creator exists.
Yeah,
and
it
you
does.
don't want the creator to believe in it. That's why you would say it's not designed, you're not designed, the tree's not designed, the fish is not designed, Because why? The implication, the inference is obvious.
No, the reason is that there's an accumulation of evidence that it happened through evolution.
Yeah.
And there's little evidence
Like
that
I've
it
been to the
happened through
museum.
a
We can go to the
divine
museum and
source.
see it. Yeah.
I'm saying your belief in evolution is just a smoke screen. When we have organic matter, where did it come from? Inorganic matter, how did matter come from?
Big Bang.
Big Bang come from?
Brother, just slowly. Big Bang was just an explosion, right?
Right.
What caused it?
I don't know. You don't know either. Though.
Yeah.
No, that's not good enough though. I don't know, it's not an answer.
Well, it's
the only answer.
it is the fact. Like it's not an answer. It's a fact.
listen,
like we
listen.
don't know.
Listen.
Like no one knows.
I don't know who made this camera. That's it?
Well,
No one made it.
Samsung made it.
No one made it.
Samsung.
You can find it out. Samsung. It's
Yeah.
written on it.
Yeah, if it didn't have anything on it, you would say...
You could look
You
and
can
research
look at-
into,
yeah, you
Yeah,
into
figure
it.
it out.
and then guess what? Still, you can't find who's making it. There's many counterfeit products. You don't know who made it. You know when you go to the shops and you buy, Tesco brand. Tesco didn't make it. Just put the seal on it. And then, so you can take the Tesco and then you realize you don't know what it's made of.
Doesn't mean nobody made it. It means it's
Yeah.
made by some unknown
Good.
person.
Very good.
Yeah.
Now you admit Because
I
you
don't
don't know.
admit that applies to the
Yeah,
universe.
how does that transfer?
You now have a principle, very clear principle, that just because you don't know
principle
who
that
made
Star
it,
made
just
brands,
because you don't know who made it, it doesn't mean no one made it. So this explosion,
But it doesn't mean that somebody made it
this
either.
explosion,
So you have to find out.
sorry, this explosion must have caused by something.
Must have been caused by something, not
Okay.
necessarily a god. Could be
Something.
anything. Something.
Slowly. What is the nature of that something that caused
I have
explosion?
no
We
idea.
don't know.
Okay.
No one knows. Yeah, like that's still unknown.
I can tell you.
How can you tell
sure,
me?
yeah.
What's your evidence?
Evidence?
Yeah, what's your evidence that what
Okay.
your
How
cause
do
you're
you make
ascribing
evidence?
is
You make
true?
inferences. Okay, because I see there's nothing in this universe that comes out of nothingness. So there is a cause.
Agreed. There's a cause.
Right. So either this cause of this universe was caused by another universe, or another cause, which was caused by another cause, which was caused by another cause, and I can go out infinitum.
Or
Or there was one final first cause. I can
science
analyze.
and religion are in sync on that point. There was one first cause.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there is a first cause.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the characteristics and properties of this first cause?
We don't know that. Yeah,
That,
that's
I don't
unknown.
know.
By definition,
Existence, self-existence, possessing of energy, and will and consciousness and direction.
Why would it have
The
a will?
third
Yeah,
one
that
I'm not
doesn't
willing
make
to
sense.
do.
Why
Why
would it
not?
have a
Why
will
not?
or
Because
consciousness?
why? Why
Yeah.
would I assume that there's
Yeah, that's a
If
big.
you have,
That's a huge
if
assumption.
you have an agent
Right.
that exists without intending it to happen, without intending it to make evolution, would it happen? Without intending.
good?
Okay, shall I give you an example? So you have a system like your own home, and you have a kitchen in your home, right? You have all the ingredients to make a good cup of tea.
Okay.
Right? You have the freezer and the milk, the cups and the cooker, and the water and on the taps, everything there, and the sugar as well. Without intending to make a cup of tea, you just sit there for millions and zillions of years. Would you think ever, without intending it, a cup of tea would be made with 2 sugars?
Maybe if somebody else
Because
lived in
there's
the
an
house.
earthquake. Yeah, like
Without anyone
without
intending.
any intent.
Without
really.
any intent by anyone, without any conscious intent.
what if there's an
Is it
earthquake or
possible?
something?
No, I'm
Yeah,
saying-
It's possible.
It's possible,
I don't
yes.
think it would happen. I wouldn't predict it.
How would it happen?
there could be an earthquake
Yeah.
And
or
earthquake making
a
sugars with 2
tornado or
sugars.
Yeah.
something.
That's what I mean by believing fairy tales.
And just saying everything's
You
equal.
believe in fairy tales, and you're saying
You're saying
believers believe in by faith. No, believers' faith is firmly grounded
in what?
on rationality, in logic, in
It's
reason,
a
in
classical
evidence.
argument of like the watchmaker, the watchmaker's thing. Yeah. Like,
Really, not really.
No, it is,
now-
it is, it
so
is.
you
That's
have
his whole thing.
you have your kitchen there, and you just don't intend to make tea, and you believe tea is going to happen.
I don't believe it will happen, but I believe it could happen.
How?
Earthquake.
Really?
It could.
So an earthquake can make anything, right? Why tea only? It could make the next generation computers.
No, but in that
No,
situation where you've
no, no,
laid
you
out
just-
all the ingredients,
no,
the
you
tea,
just
it
contradict
could be there.
No,
But
no, these ingredients were not laid down. The tea happened to be in a tea bag inside a cupboard, locked door, locked.
Oh,
The
then
milk-
no, then it
the
could
milk,
happen. Then my answer
milk was in the
changes.
fridge, doors locked. The tap wasn't open.
No, then tea couldn't be made without my
Right. So that means then, the first cause, without intending for this universe to be like as it is now, will never happen without intending.
No, it could have. I could have, like I step on a leaf, I don't intend for the leaf to break in certain ways.
Let's understand the first cause. You have a cause.
I'm the cause of that leaf breaking the way it did,
possessor
but I
of
don't have the
energy,
intention.
possessor of energy, and then this possessor of energy doesn't do anything, and then guess what? Things just happen. Laws come into existence with its own precision. I don't buy that. It's fairy tale. That's fairy tale. That's fairy tale. That's the scientist's God of the gaps.
No, you're making assumptions on causation.
I'm not
we
making
agree that
assumptions.
there's a first,
No, I'm
there's
not
a
making
first
assumptions.
cause. You are.
I am saying then the next step from this cause to this universe, you need intent. Without intent, nothing would happen. Nothing should happen.
I don't agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Yeah.
Why not? I would like to know. Give logical.
Because I just told you, like I can intend to step on this leaf and it would break in different ways. I don't have intention about each way it breaks.
You intend, for example, laws of this universe either was intended by the creator or it just happened.
Right.
Yeah, it just happened.
Equally possible.
Now, how did it just happen? Tell me.
How did it happen by a creator?
Because the universe wouldn't exist if the laws were different.
That's not like this. You have these laws, and the creator, the first cause, let's call him the creator, possesses all of everything about knowledge and, you know.
I don't. I'm not willing to stipulate to all of that possesses. I don't know that the first
Possesses
cause.
what?
The
Okay,
first
possesses
cause
what?
might not be a sentient being at all. The first cause could just
Okay, what
could
is
not
it?
think. I don't
Yeah.
have no
Okay.
idea what it is.
Okay.
Could have been the
What-
collapse of the
so
universe
first
before,
cause
and then it
definitely
exploded
has
itself.
energy, possessor of energy.
Yeah, there had to be energy in the Big Bang. Yeah.
Right. This energy was then transformed.
The intent
How?
is where you
Yeah,
lose
the
me.
intent's
Yeah.
where you lose us.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
no. Was this energy transformed intentionally or unintentionally?
I don't
From the
know.
first cause.
It could have.
I don't know. And I don't think there's a way of knowing.
Yeah.
Come on, there's two options. Which one makes sense? Which one makes
They
more
both
rational
equally-
sense? No, they're not equally.
Neither-
They're
not-
not. No, both of them are not equally valid. The one which says, you know what, from this energy, which is not conscious, came things which are precise in our, you know, understanding, without any intent, without any designing, without any kind of thought process involved in it, without even willing any will involved
You're
in
trying
it.
to imply things that
not
like
implying.
we have no experience
I'm
with those
saying-
things.
No, I am
You're
saying-
trying to, you say like we look at the things we have experience with. We have no experience with